I have another valve right there, going up to, again, these outdoor sprinkler prefit cuts, going up to some joints bought at Bulk Reef Supply, into some Schedule 80, well, this is all Schedule 80, but into a bulkhead adapter, also bought at Bulk Reef Supply. This down here, this little guy that you see down here, is actually a mistake when I started drilling the holes in the aquarium. For whatever reason, my very first hole, I was turned around and started drilling it at the bottom of the tank. And when I realized that, I about had a heart attack, didn't know what to do, so I decided to turn it into a drain. So this is my drain system. I actually have it hooked up because I just did a water change the other day, but I merely hook a hose up to it, run a tube down to my sump, and as I'm vacuuming it with a standard water vacuum right there, I turn the drain on, and I'm just able to move that much water that much more quickly. It actually turned out to be a really, really helpful screw up, so not too bad. So as you can see, I have valves on everything that has any type of backdrop, so if I need to do like a water change, I can turn everything off so nothing feeds back down into the refugium. Not that there's a ton of feed that goes back down in there because everything's pretty high to water level, but it still stops it. So the water would pump up through here, go through the bend, and then there's my water return. I'll try and get another angle on this here. Alright, so the water return has I have a couple 90 degrees on there. It was basically so I could, before gluing it, I could adjust the height to have it be almost perfect water level. And as you can see, I got a little bit of a back angle on it. That ended up being what the perfect water level was going to be. So I just go to another, this is actually a piece of pipe that I cut from Schedule 80, drilled some holes in it. Yeah, I'm not the best. I tried to get it all on the line there, but this was all my first attempt at anything, so it's not perfectly straight. But this piece of pipe into the joint there is actually not glued. I can twist this piping to aim the holes at different directions, so I can change how the water flows into the tank. I can have it be more of a strong river with lots of surface agitation, or I can have it be more calm, pointing straight down. I can pull the pipe completely out of the joint and get more of a whirlpool type, like if this were like a part of attached to a river and was just like a little pocket of a river that had a little whirlpool of a calm type scenario. This black box here is just my scrubber. I got one of those hammerhead float magnetic scrubbers. Barely use it. I have a very large Pleco in here, and he keeps the tank pretty darn clean. So to actually go back out to the tank, that guy's a bluegill I caught. There's another little bluegill I caught. And then over there is another bluegill that I caught. The tank itself is for the piranha. Out of 11, 8 of them managed not to eat themselves. Oh my gosh, these things, I've had them as juveniles, dime, they're about the size of a dime, and they are, as juveniles, they are vicious. Red-bellied piranha are very actually skittish fish. Well, pretty much any fish that schools is going to be a skittish fish because they don't live solitary, they're not aggressive. They attack things that show signs of distress and weakness, and stay away from anything that shows signs of strength and aggression. But as juveniles, they were extremely aggressive. They're very, very brave, probably the bravest they've ever been during their point of development. They're not very big now. I mean, we're talking, that guy's, well, 3.5 maybe inches long, 4 maybe. The bluegill I threw in there because if you don't have another fish in there while they're growing up, they'll fight and nibble with each other. But if you put other fish in there with them, excuse me, I had to sneeze. They will nibble and bite at the fish, and like as you can see, that bluegill's fin, those rear fins, a little mutilated. Their rear fin, a little mutilated. They bite and nibble and do everything else. Then in the back there, I have a Pleco. He's a little over 12 inches long. He's a really big guy. There's a few marks on him where the piranha have tried to nip him, but that armor is just incredibly tough right now. The piranha are just too little. They leave him alone after realizing that they're not really getting anywhere with that guy. And after being in the piranha tank for a while, he's learned to be aggressive enough that they just completely leave him alone. He'll actually take food away from them. If I put in, like if I go out and catch a bluegill, I might have some other tanks in the house that I'll keep bluegill in, but I don't really maintain them. When the bluegills start to get weak, I throw them back in this tank as food for the piranha, and the piranha will immediately attack anything that's weak or in distress. So as they're attacking the fish, they'll get it to a point where it can't swim away, and they'll start eating it. I can throw up a couple videos of that, but the Pleco will actually come in and take the fish away from the piranha. Well, yeah, they don't take it; they just go in there, and the piranha are so skittish that they won't want to go near the food while the Pleco is attacking it. Yeah, if you guys haven't ever been to like a Walmart or a Meijer that has the really crappy fish tank setups, you'll see dead fish in there, and if they have any Plecos in there, the Plecos are always all over the dead fish. For whatever reason, they like to eat something. I don't know if it's the coating on the fish or the skin. I'm not sure what they're eating, but they definitely will go for dead or dying fish without a problem. That's one of the Java ferns, or whatever the heck they are, same plant that I have in the refugium below. I just got some slate rock, nothing big, lots of open area for the fish to swim, and then I have some fake plants on this area. This whole area will be nothing but fake plants underneath the overflow box there. I'm going to completely wall that in with green. It provides hiding spaces, and these piranha really like places to hide. Up to this point, they've been able to hide within the rocks, but now they're getting too big. They can't fit in the rocks anymore. So I have to provide them with more hiding spots, so they're just not stressed out all the time, because they're a pretty skittish fish. I had crayfish in here. I had 3 of them. One of the little bastards climbed out of the tank. I have no idea how. I don't have any wires, anything going into the tank. So I swam up to the top, maybe to the top of the overflow. Somehow got out between I have no idea how he got out. One of my kids found him in front of the TV, so I threw him back in, and the next day he was gone again. Haven't found him since. So I'm sure one day when I'm cleaning my basement here, I'm going to find a crawfish shell. The other 2 crawfish were eaten. One of them was eaten by the piranha, and in a more of a defensive manner. The piranha were eating a fish. Excuse me, a dead frog. And the crayfish came over and tried to take the dead frog away from the piranhas and pull it into the rock, and the piranhas reacted by killing the crayfish. It was actually pretty funny. Wish I would have got it on video. And then the other one, I had bluegill larger than that one in this tank, about 5 of them, in with the piranha, just as I got other tanks set up to move the bluegill to. And the bluegill were extremely aggressive, and during the night when one of the last crawfish came out, the bluegill basically just beat the crap out of it and tore it apart, and I woke up to pieces of the of the bluegill and checked my. I have a little monitor that watches the tank, and when I checked that, they just basically the bluegill tore it apart. It wasn't the piranha. Well, I correct myself. Once the bluegill started getting into a point that it was a fish in distress, and the piranha also joined in on the bandwagon. So now that some of the bluegill are gone, I will be getting 4 more crawfish and throwing them in there. The crawfish like to hide in the rocks, but they do a really good job of agitating the sand and stirring things up and keeping things clean. So I like having the crawfish in here, and they're cheap too. They're like $1. So even, you know, if they do wind up being a meal, it's just a treat for the piranha, and you know, it only cost me $1, so no big deal. The sand here is also pool filter sand. I don't really like the way rocks look. Just to have a whole floor of rocks, I really like the way sand looks. Just, I don't know, it gives me more of a beach, almost like a natural river effect. I am under construction for building a wall, a riverbed wall for the entire back inside of the aquarium, so it looks more of a natural, like a river type habitat. That is a work in progress. I'm not much of an artist, so to do I'm using foam, and it's kind of hard to get a nice design that I actually end up liking. Now for the lights and stuff, I have another light up there that was just like the light in the refugium, same wattage, and I can't remember the wattage off the top of my head. I can't see it, the light's too bright. But I want to say it's right around 120 watt. And then up above, I have a fluorescent light that is a plant with plant aquarium tubes in them. This is your standard workshop length fluorescent light. Now everything is routed down into, let me turn the light here, this little black box. Right, let me get a better angle on that. Right there. Oh, where are we at? There we are. Right there, that little black box. This is the Apex Junior Aqua Controller. This thing is sweet. You know, it just basically allows me to run my aquarium automatically, and if I need to make any manipulations, I use it through the phone that I'm currently recording this video with, so I can manipulate anything from anywhere. When I do any type of military training, go around the country, I can just pull up the app on my phone and make sure temps are good, and you know, check the stats, and you know, it keeps a log, and I can just make sure everything's been good for while I'm away. So I have, this is the Junior, only has 4 plugs on it. We can get a good view of that. Okay, I have 1 plug right there spinning around to a surge protector, and those 4 outlets are what control all 4 heaters. So when it drops below, I think I have it set to like 79 degrees. When it drops below 79 degrees, that surge detector, that outlet will kick on, turn on the surge detector, and it turns on every heater, and the heater's heated up to 82 degrees, and then it just kicks the surge detector completely off. The next plug is for the sump pump. That's just always on. It just has a kind of a fail-safe thing when power goes out to make sure it turns it back on. Then the other 2 are for the lights. I have one, I believe it is this one, that controls the refugium light and the fluorescent light, and that turns on both those lights at the same time and turns them off at the same time, and it turns them off before that light turns off. So it basically, I get like this moonlight effect at night. I have all the lights go off, that one, and then the refugium light go off, and this light here stays on for about 30-45 more minutes, and it shines into the tank and almost gives like a glimmering like moonlight, like bright moonlight effect to it. Looks pretty sweet. Fish haven't complained, at least I haven't heard anything from them, so they seem to like it, hopefully. And then of course the last outlet is for the light up there, and it turns it off. Then I have, this is a networkable, well, obviously because I can use it through my phone, and how I do that is I have the network plug, which is, let's see if I can get my finger back there, right here in the back, and it goes down and out, and I have it going into a hello spider, have it going into a Netgear little Wi-Fi device right there, and that little Wi-Fi just broadcasts it out, so I don't actually have to run a network cable all the way over to my tank from my router. I just use that little Wi-Fi device. I think that guy was like, it was 20 or 40 bucks. I don't really remember. It wasn't that expensive. It works great. It's always on. I have no complaints with it. So that's how I get my internet access, you know, for wherever I am to this Apex Junior. And I like the device. I like the setup. Everything seems to be working, you know, in a good, as it should be. I mean, the water's clear. I was thinking of maybe putting a small Pleco inside my overflow box to clean that up and get that a little clearer. I might try it out, see how that works, and if it doesn't work out very well, I'll just move the Pleco to one of my other tanks. And then I monitor it all with this D-Link Wi-Fi camera. All it needs is a outlet. Wi-Fi's built right into it, and it just works. It's pretty sweet. So I can view it at any time. I can only record from it from my home computer, so that's the only thing. If I'm out and about and want to actually look at my fish, I can watch them, but I can't like record something if I see something cool. Yeah, I just have a thermometer there for verification that the probe is, you know, still working. And so far, they're both of them, you know, they correspond together, so it seems like everything is working. So yeah, the biggest thing was the filter. You know, I've never done any plumbing before, and I've never really siliconed all this stuff together. Didn't really know what I was doing. Just basically did a lot of Googling and YouTubing and trying to see what other people were doing, and I basically just took a bunch of ideas and put them together, and then tried to figure out how to get them to work together without just, you know, having just a nightmare of a mess. This being my first, the next project I do should go a lot smoother now that I know kind of what the errors were through trial and error. I can basically get a design on paper first, so I know what to do now before I actually have to do it and try it just to see if it works, and then take it all apart because it didn't work and try it again. So that's all done. I can just, you know, get it down on paper, and as I'm building everything, I can put it all together. That should save a ton of time. That would be my tank and my filter system. Couple more shots here. All right. Whoever actually decided to watch this, I appreciate you watching it. And if you got any questions, just feel free to ask in the comments area. If you want any specific video or specifics, just like clips, maybe more info on like how things work or how I do a water change, just really anything, feel free to ask. and hopefully, you know, my trial and error and a little bit of heartache can be alleviated through some questions, and, you know, help some people from having to go through the same little headaches and hiccups that I went through. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.